Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 177. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you're having a good one. And speaking of joining us, we have a guest this week. He comes to us from the Scarlet Sprites page. He is Joe. Joe, what are you doing, man?
What's up, guys? Thanks, Brian and Jim, for having me. Really appreciate being able to get on the podcast and experience the Power Hour for myself in real time tonight.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you for joining us. I know we've been talking for a while. I know we've been big fans of your page. And speaking of your page, where can people find you? Where do you want them to subscribe? Where can we send them?
Yeah, just check out Scarlet Sprites on YouTube. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as well, all that kind of stuff. But YouTube is really where all the fun and the magic happens. Probably on Twitter as far as social media goes. That's probably my biggest platform outside of YouTube. But yeah, definitely check out the videos and all the arcade fun at Scarlet Sprites on YouTube.
Yeah, now I will say... maybe we're biased because we're talking with you, but you're definitely one of the more entertaining and informational arcade YouTubers I've ever seen. So I know watching your stuff, I've always really enjoyed. So
I appreciate that.
If you like arcade, and you don't strictly cover arcade stuff, but that's the majority, and that I've learned a lot.
Yeah, good. That's what I always hope for. Just kind of share the experiences and what I'm into, and hopefully other people that pick things up, or it's like, oh, you know what, maybe I could do that too, and go out, find a deal. And I've heard from a few people who have said, like, hey, I found a cheap cabinet and I've decided I can make a go with this, and a year later I got something working, and it's like I never thought I could do it, but I watched the channel and I wanted to do it, and that's really cool. I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, so we on your page you talk a lot about like how far you go to get your cabinets and where you find them and where you get the deals. I have just a quick question. How are you so good with all the word working and all the restoration and shit like that? Because I am not handy at all. Like
I'm not. I wasn't either.
Like I would just get it and throw it in a bathtub and be like, oh, that'll work. Like,
yeah, right.
Is it something you just picked up along the way, or trial and error?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've talked a little bit about that before because people do ask that. And the first machine I got was the Neo Geo arcade. That was the big red. And thankfully there wasn't a whole lot wrong with it. So I could kind of open it up, take it apart, not take it apart, but you know what I mean? Like open up the doors, look at the back, like, and kind of get a feel for like what's going on in there. And there was a few things that were wrong with it. And I got help on a few forums, and I'm always like really, I shout out James Whalen all the time, JNX. Guy's awesome. Like he helped me when I was new and starting out and I didn't know anything, and he would answer questions for me and got me up and running with some of the things that were wrong. And I think that's really important. So I try to do the same thing for other people going forward. But yeah, I mean, it was really just starting off with that first cabinet and figuring out like a few little nuances, and then you start thinking about it after a couple months. It's like, I bet I could do some other stuff too, right? And then you just start adding to the repertoire. For the longest time I never messed with monitors. Like that was always something that was a little scary to me, and I was like, it might be outside my wheelhouse, like taking the monitor chassis out and fooling around with, like, I don't know anything about that. But there's a certain point when you get into a hobby that you can keep paying other people to do it for you, or you can learn it yourself. And then, it becomes instantly, it's cheaper as soon as you start doing stuff yourself. So, I mean, really the trick is reading. And I know it's a really unsexy answer and nobody wants to just go out and read, but that is how I picked up so much stuff, just scouring forums, things that I wasn't even really like doing at the time. Or I'd see like a topic that was posted and I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Like what's his deal with this? And then I'd kind of like read down through and just kind of stow it, away for another time. And then, you go back, and when you encounter a problem, I mean, the arcade hobby is not new, and somebody else has encountered that more than likely, and you can go out and you can find stuff to help. But yeah, I mean, really, it's a long way of answering. I just kind of chipped away at it early on. I didn't do a lot of big stuff, and Jim, you brought up the woodworking stuff. Like I am I am not handy. Like I can't do anything really, right? Like I start watching a few videos here and there, about like, okay, well, it just needs sanded. Like I could sand, and like figure that element out. And like, okay, I bought an orbital sander, and then I bought a router and it's like I'm watching YouTube videos on how to do some of that stuff. And it's just adding like little pieces. Like every year, I just pick up one more little piece and put it all together. So that's how I ended up where I am.
Now, my question to you, so you started with the Neo Geo, you said that was your first one.
Yeah.
Since that point, though, with ones you've kept or maybe sold, how many arcade cabinets have you had?
I think so. I've only gotten rid of one, and I basically traded it. I traded a working Virtual Cop for a friend of mine who had, honestly, he's helped me out a lot with just going and picking stuff up and like using his truck and trips to Maryland and whatnot. So he's kind of always at the ready. And he picked up that G.I. Joe cabinet that I have that needed restored, and he grabbed that when he was actually down near you guys for a bike race. And he brought that back, and it was a it was a Fisherman's Bait, Konami Fisherman's Bait, that somebody had turned it into that. And I basically, he had wanted a Virtual Cop for a while, and I was like, just take it, dude. Like, you've done so much for me. And then he unloaded the Fisherman's Bait, and I gave him that. But to answer, I think there's 20 in the basement right now.
20.
I think I have 20 machines down there. 4 of them, I think, are just sitting like waiting to be restored. Everything else, for the most part, is up and running.
So at this point, do you mostly look for like restoration projects, I'll call them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's definitely, the Neo Geo fully working. They said it was fully working. It wasn't when I got it, but yeah, I mean, that and the candy cabinets that I bought were also fully working, and that there was not a whole lot of wiggle room on the East Coast here. Like if you find something, I got it, because it's not, candy cabinets are harder to find on the East Coast. But yeah, everything else, if really, like anything, like if it's under $500, it's and it looks like it's in good shape, and it's got a working monitor in it, and it just needs some love, like I'm in. Let's do it. That's kind of where I've been, and I've been really fortunate. I think even like the first video for this year, the first machine I got was like $150. It was a Dynamo HS5, like basically what you would have seen Street Fighter in back in the day. I mean, Street Fighter was rampant in these cabinets back in the day, and somebody had turned it into a police trainer, which is fine, but the guy didn't want it. He's like, $150. I'm like, okay, because originally he said 3, and I was like, I don't need another project, and then he's like, it's like $150, and I was like, all right. Actually, it may have been $100. Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'll take it, like, So, but yeah, looking for deals and stuff like that is kind of where I've fallen in the last like 3 or 4 years.
Well, dude, speaking of fortunate, like you had like that thing that every collector, because we all do it in our basements because we're all stupid and we don't have enough space. And you had like that minor flood happen, and you still wound up with like, not having like any like too crazy damage and shit like that. Like you see that tweet go out, and you're just like, oh fuck, oh no, like every collector's heart drops.
Yeah, I was really, that was a bad night. I mean, that pipe that burst in the wall, and I thankfully, I mean, I like know where your water, as a homeowner, know where your water shutoff is. You should know where that is. Like if you don't, especially if you're keeping expensive things in your house or things that you can't replace, it doesn't even need to be expensive. But thankfully I got to that shutoff and got the water killed to the house. It was only running, I want to say like 30 seconds. So, but it still caused a lot of cleanup. 30 seconds of water just spewing into the basement was still a mess. But yeah, nothing got permanently damaged. Got everything cleaned up, pipes fixed, but yeah, that was scary. Especially for like, I mean, a lot of that stuff is not easy to replace, and certainly not like you're not just going to go out and find like another like Big Blue cabinet for like $500 or whatever. Yeah. Like you're just not going to happen. Like,
especially with today's prices.
Yeah, it's outrageous. Yeah.
And actually, I do love your collection, especially when you did like your whole game room tour collection video. Because you're like, yeah, I kind of, started out with normal systems, and then I became a freak about the Neo Geo 8, and then I was like, screw it, full on arcades. I was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate, actually. That's how it unraveled.
That's the gateway drug right there.
Yeah, 100%. That was my panel at Long Island Retro, Neo Geo, the gateway drug.
Dude, that place looks so cool too. Because that was one that was built right in the Air Museum, right?
Yeah, the Cradle of Aviation on Long Island. Yeah, it's a great venue for a convention. It was awesome. I had such a good time, good people. Really just a different type of show.
And I got to ask, because you're a PA boy too, and with football season just starting. Now, I know you Central PA boys. So, Steelers or Eagles, what is it?
Oh, it's Eagles, 100%.
Oh, thank God.
I'm Philly sports across the board.
Yeah, because I knew you were a big like Sixers guy and shit like that. We did talk Flyers, but I was like, there's always that goddamn Steelers that sneaks in there.
No, that's always weird to me. Like when somebody like splits like things down the line like that, and they're like, yeah, I like the Phillies for baseball, but I like the Steelers for football, and for hockey, I'm a Rangers fan. And it's like, what? Like, just pick a city. Like,
stick to a city.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching your videos. It's funny because I went on like Facebook, and every so often I just type in arcade cabinets, and I think the same way. Like if I find one that would be cheap enough and it's a deal. And I remember at one time it was a completely busted cabinet, but it was the blue Hydro Thunder.
Oh yeah,
and it was I guess relatively cheap. It was like $250 or something, but I mean. I don't know if the monitor was broken or not there. So it was probably just the empty cab.
Yeah.
But I was like, part of me was like, it would be really cool to get that. And even if I converted it into like a gaming station, not even necessarily restoring it to the whole game, but like using it for something else. But I was like, yeah, the basement with the kids and everything. I was like, the space would be a major issue.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to start trying to commit to that because I get fearful of like, me and Jim are obviously collectors. And yeah, I feel like once you go down that road, you'll be like, oh, I did this one, so maybe another one and then another one.
Yeah, I mean, you're just telling me my the last like 10 years of my life is what you're explaining. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Yeah, I mean, I really thought like initially, I'm like, I committed to the Neo Geo because I was like, well. It's basically like it's very similar to a console. Like, so somebody that, you're just swapping a cartridge in and out. And I'm like, I get a Neo Geo, which I'm a big Neo Geo fan, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was like the heart of wanting it. But it also like, I felt like initially, like I wasn't locked to a single game in a cabinet. So if I'm dedicating the space to an arcade machine, I can swap cartridges and swap games out and have a lot of different, experiences. But, obviously, like as I went further into the hobby, like you don't have to be, you don't need a Neo Geo for that. Like you can experience lots of different games and there's ways to play them and stuff. And especially nowadays, like there's so many different options for being able to swap out games, be it emulation or like a Mr. Cade or like even the Pandora's boxes and all that kind of stuff. Like there's so many different ways to do it. And even just something that's like straight JAMA wired, a lot of 90s games are use that same pinout, so you can just swap the boards in and out. So there's a lot of different, reasons why I went with that. But then I was like, all right, well, I got the Neo Geo, but now I do want something that's just JAMA wire, and then it's like, the candy cabs are small, like I could fit that in there. And then, and then I'm like, I looking at Craigslist and I see like somebody had that Virtua Fighter and he had that listed for like $500. And I think I shot him an email and I was like, what about like maybe $300? And he's like, yeah, I'll drop it off tonight. And I was like, oh. So then my wife's like coming home from work and this guy's unloading a Virtua Fighter cabinet into our garage. And it's like, okay, now the hobby's starting to get a little out of hand. But yeah, that was really, it got a little bit more out of hand after that too.
I mean, it only went up by tenfold, so
yeah,
it's
right.
No big deal.
Exactly.
Dude, I think it's bad when another game shows up in the mail, and she's like, "Really, another one?" I can imagine a fucking arcade showing up.
Yeah, yeah. That's always the thing. There's like there'll be like a local auction or something, and my wife will just be like, "Well, you're not bidding on anything in there, are you?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, you got to get while the getting's good. Like, you're not always going to be able to find arcade machines. Like, and that is actually like an argument I've used because and there's price history to support that at this point. Like where, like 5 years ago, what I paid for like the candy cabinets and stuff. It's unbelievable, like the way that those have gone up, like just in like double, triple the price in some cases, and they're just getting harder to find. And the warehouse that I went to in Maryland, where I got a lot of the machines and projects that I have, it got sold, and so it's done. And so there is like a finite window in some ways that that I was looking at that. Try to like I picked up that Area 51 and I was like, I want to get a light gun, a dedicated light gun cabinet that I can put light gun games in. And that was up and, at auction. I was like, it might be now or never. Like if I don't get it, might not ever happen. And, similar, Punch-Out, Nintendo Punch-Out was up, a few weeks ago. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, I don't know, like when will it was, and at the time it was sitting at like $600 or $700 for this Nintendo Punch-Out. I'm like, okay. It ended up selling. I want to say it was up over $2,000.
Jesus!
Like, oh my god! Like, and I was out. Like, I'm not spending
like,
that.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's outside of like what I do. Like, if I can have it for a reasonable price, fix it up. But it was like unrestored, and somebody paid over $2,000 for it. And that's the kind of stuff that's happening now. So it is. I do feel like, at least for me, my finances, space, and everything, like it was kind of like now or never moment. And now I'm kind of like almost in the twilight of that, where I'm just going through rehabbing, restoring, maybe cleaning up stuff. Maybe I'll downsize a little bit here or there, but for the most part, that was a big question I got at Retro World. People kept asking like, what's next and what other machines? Do you have a list? And it's like, one, there's like finite space in the basement. So if you have something, and it doesn't mean you can't bring something else in, but you got to ship something else out. And I think Retro Ralph is kind of at that point where he's like got like a storage locker. He has to like move stuff out soon. And I'm not about to start renting. I'm not going that way. But for me, I think I'm pretty much where I want to be with. There's 20 machines down. You got to draw a line at some point.
And actually, with Brian and I being beer guys, we got to ask, if any of like the barcades in the area hit you up like, hey, like we saw this, are you ever selling anything? We could use another spot or replace a machine.
Hershey Park asked if I was interested in like helping them repair stuff at one point, and I was just, because I was kind of bitching about their Dragon Slayer always being down. Like, every time I'm over there, your Dragon Slayer is broken. Like, why? What is going on? Like, there's other things. Like, you don't. If he was talking about I figured it was like the Laserdisc player. Like that shit's always bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there's other options. Like, you don't have to like keep like fixing a wonky Laserdisc player. Like, there's other options to run that. And I sent some links and stuff, and then they're like, well, do you want to fix it? I'm like,
I like that they hit you up with the
really.
reverse.
Like, not really. Like, I'm happy to point you in the right direction, but I was more selfishly, I was more interested in, if you guys aren't going to fix that, I'll take it off your hands. I was kind of going the other way with it, as opposed to having them pull me in to come over there and work on stuff.
Now for some lifetime season passes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like, I would be interested in that.
That would, yeah.
I mean, Storm Chaser is a good ride. So
Hershey Park is not cheap these days. Speaking of cabinets going up in price, Hershey Park is not a cheap adventure anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah, my last time I was there is when my buddy, his ex-girlfriend, her dad worked there. So it'd be like Verizon Day, be like, oh, I'm going to take a shitload of people there. So that definitely is like a nice way to save like $300 just in tickets.
That's how I end up going. Like, that's how I go every year, is just through work.
Yeah. All right, Joe. So Jim did mention barcades, and we are curious. You a beer drinker?
It's funny. I'm not as much as you guys are. I can look back. I think this past summer, like, I'm a very seasonal drinker when it comes. Like, so like if it's like a holiday weekend or something like that, I'll definitely have like whatever is at the party, or like some type of like summer shandy, something like that you guys probably frown upon.
We love it all.
I have a Keystone Light flag.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's fair enough.
And he talks about White Claws and loving them, so
that's fine. Yeah,
They're refreshing.
Lancaster Brewing Company is pretty close to me, and they have like a winter warmer that they make.
Winter warmer. Yep.
Yeah, I really like that. So I don't drink a whole lot, not as much. I also, as I've gotten older, migraines really bad, and I'm on prescriptions now and all kinds of. So anytime I drink, there's like this risk that I'm running,
all of a sudden,
and it sucks so bad. So I gotta like, if it's gonna be like a good time, like this is a weekend, like Halloween weekend, like with friends at the beach or whatever, I'm like, all right, I'm all in. Like migraine happens, it happens, but I'm not gonna just like drink especially dark stuff like. I know I'm a little bit of a downer right now, but I don't drink a lot of beer or alcohol. I mean, I went to like Retro World. I think I'll have like a beer or two at the bar, but then
that's it. You cut it.
It's one or two max, and I'm done because I can't risk it.
No, that's called being responsible.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I actually like I was like. I know that we're drinking a beer and play a game, and that's like your whole thing. I was like, I don't have a beer or anything exciting, but I brought I got this Coca-Cola Bite. It was a special
I never saw that
drink that they did for gamers, inspired by gaming. It supposedly tastes like pixels. It was on, yeah.
The hell does a pixel taste like?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to find out. I'm going to open it up here and taste it. And it's also 0 sugar. So I'm guessing it probably tastes like garbage. But you know what? It was gaming inspired. And I'm like, I have to have something.
You know what? The Starlight Zeros are pretty damn good. So you might be in luck.
I've had that. I have had that. My wife brought something else home the other day because she's like, I know you like bullshit soda. And all kinds. She's like, she's like, you love the gimmicks. So I brought, and I don't remember what it was. It was something else that Coke made. Oh, it was awful. There was also no sugar, and it just tasted like, I don't even. It was like copper. It was like it was just like putting pennies in your mouth. I'm like, and she tasted it. She's like, oh, it's shit. Pour it out. Yeah, I don't know what they did to that. So I'm gonna take a sip.
Now, Chambers, while he's taking a sip, what you got in your glass today?
Well, Brian, speaking of seasonals, I'm going with an Oktoberfest. The good old Cape May from Cape May, the Oktoberfest. Straight up Marzen, 5.8% alcohol.
Damn it, you.
Rich and complex. This amber-colored lager is smooth and clean due to the cool 50-degree fermentation, mellowing as its lagers. Well balanced with a hint of hops presence, Oktoberfest is focused on the grain bill of Vienna, Munich, Cara Munich, Pilsen, and melanoidin malts. There we go. I can read.
Nice. Yeah, speaking, I'm going right along with the Oktoberfest. We got till this Saturday. The 17th is when it's done. So I'm sticking with the Shiner Oktoberfest, finishing those off. And then I'll be dipping back into those Devil Backbones O Fest like we did. Did you do that with me last week, Jim?
Yeah.
Those were yeah. So interestingly enough, I did go to a little Oktoberfest celebration near me and had, the Hofbrau, the Spaten, and all the other German staples, I'll say. And there is something about being out and about, eating your pretzels off a string, getting the beer nuts, paying $10 for a whiskey-infused cigar that you lose half of it because it falls out of your pocket. But yeah. The beer tastes better in a festival setting, so I can vouch for the Oktoberfest.
They serve it cold, or is it like lukewarm?
No, it's ice cold.
Okay, they did it for the crowd.
Yeah. Now, Joe, how is that? Your pixelated Coke?
Well, if you've ever had grape soda and poured 3/4 of it out and filled the can back up with seltzer, that's what this tastes like.
Oh,
that
good,
doesn't
guys.
sound good at all.
It's not good. It's terrible. It's actually it's really terrible. Yeah, it needs sugar. That shouldn't be a selling point. 0 sugar. It needs sugar.
Oh, the pixels let you down.
Yeah, it's a cool can. I mean, it's
it's kitschy. Yeah,
it has like a nice little box that came in, and they tried, but Yeah, there's a reason that's not on shelves, I think.
So that's not a return for you?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's funny. You were talking about sodas and gimmicks, and it's funny because I very rarely drink soda, but I forget if it was Pepsi or Coke. One of them had a goofy flavor. For example, I'll just say it's like birthday flavor, but it's like a mysterious one. And I drank it, and I guess they were trying to go for peach, but with like Coke or Pepsi flavor. It was just the opposite of what you're saying, where it was way too sweet and way too much. It was like, it tasted like they dunked peach rings in it, but like allowed way too much of the sugar to settle. I was like, oh my God, this is way too sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the inverse of your problem.
Well, that's like because you're right. You can go too hard that way, and it just feels like your teeth are rotting, right?
Yeah.
You get that film in your mouth. It's like, this isn't even good. Like, it's just, it's too much.
Now, Joe, I know you're not a big drinker. Clearly, I guess you're a pretty big gamer. You know, you only got 20 arcade cabinets.
He dabbles.
Yeah.
But what's been your go-to? So, like, aside from when you're working on projects, do you have a game that you've been actively like playing in the background, or has been your go-to for the past couple weeks?
Yeah, it's funny because that comes up a lot, and I don't have like a sexy answer for that, because people always they'll ask about like some like Japanese like shooter or whatever. It's like, how are you with like Kitsui? Like, how are you Dodonpachi? Can you one credit clear? I'm like, no, like I'm not great at those. I play NBA Showtime so much. Like,
nice.
I have the Sports Station cabinet down there, and it's kind of like I've talked about it before on the channel. Like, they're like the Coors Light of video games, and I don't care because I just love them so much. Like playing Blitz and Showtime and NBA Jam, and and it's a great game that you can just turn on and just play, and you're done like in 10 minutes, and it's not a big commitment. So yeah, NBA Showtime is my big thing. Like I think I ripped through. I just did my third pass through beating all the teams, all the special teams, and like basically clearing the whole game. So it's that's my jam, so to speak, is NBA Showtime.
Now let me ask you, one thing we've noticed, Jim and I agree, I think the old school sports games were always the best. Part of the reason why you see things like Tecmo Super Bowl being updated with modern rosters and then re-emulate it. If you could do that feasibly kind of easy, I know you're using legit hardware, like, would that be something you'd be interested in? Like, use modern day teams, just updated rosters? Or do you just like sticking with the old teams?
Yeah, I often think about that too, because like I would love to have like NBA. We're talking about NBA Showtime. Like give me Joel Embiid. Like, I want to go out and I want to play. Like, that would be awesome. Like, give me that game with Embiid in it. And I know there's you guys might have to help me out a little bit. There was a game I had for Switch that was kind of sort of like NBA Jam, and you could play as it was like a 2-on-2, but I can't remember what it was
I know what you're
called.
talking about. I can't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, and there's like some there's like some pay to play crap that was embedded in it too, which I never really got into, but it was fine for what it was, but it just lacked like the overall charm, charisma of like the old school like games, at least as far as I'm concerned. I played the last version of NBA Jam that came out. Was that like 10 years ago? Maybe came out for Xbox, and that was all right. I played that for a bit, but yeah, I would love that. I mean, updated rosters, like even like we were just talking about hockey, like open ice. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing like an updated roster for that. Like, if somebody put together a hack, but people don't necessarily do like roster hacks for arcade games the way you see for like Super Nintendo and the old school like Genesis games and stuff. It just I think the effort that's required versus the user pool is pretty,
not worth it.
It's just not worth it for somebody to sit and do all that.
Yeah, and the game you're thinking of, was it the NBA 2K Playground?
Yeah.
So it's funny you said that. I've been wanting a good like. I miss playing NBA Jam. I'm not a modern sports simulator style. Like, I don't like it with wrestling. I don't like it with anything, but I love those. And I got a bundle deal for like It was that and the wrestling NBA or like the WWE 2K, whatever, with the giant head.
Battlegrounds?
Yeah. It was like a bundle for like $5 for both games. So
Yeah,
I was like,
it's a no-brainer.
oh, okay. And I started playing it. And same deal. Like you said, there was legends from all over. So you can
Yep.
get Iverson,
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, but like either you pay up front because that's who you want, or you grind it out
Yeah.
and take forever. And I was like, "Ugh, I'm not going to play it that much. So.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
played it for like maybe a month, just off and on, and I was just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to unlock all this stuff, and I'm certainly not giving, a bunch of money just to keep
Just so you can
unlocking.
play. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not. So I think I ended up just getting rid of it at a yard sale. I don't even have it.
Are they real dicks? And they're like, okay, you can have Sean Bradley for free, but if you want a real player,
Yeah, yeah.
I think they throw in like one or two, like, you're like, oh, okay. This is good, but like all the main ones you would want, and they even have like variations. It's like Iverson from this year, Iverson from that year, Jordan. Like they have like 7 different versions of Jordan, so it's like, okay, this is one way to do it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. And the game itself was fine, but it just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't quite as fun.
it didn't capture it the way NBA Jam or those older school games did.
No.
Now, what about you, Chambers? I know you've been burning a hole in your goddamn list for Level 50 Club.
oh, I mean, I only finished one more game, so I finally finished up Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon 2. So, absolutely love it. I want to go back, after I'm done Level 50 and our Patreon review games, and give it a few more playthroughs because the story keeps building on itself every time you go through it. So, it's a fantastic Castlevania throwback. And if you like the old school Castlevania games and you haven't played them yet, definitely check it out. And besides that, I just got more footage for this Sonic 3 video. So I'm done. I'm done with Sonic 3. I'm good. I've got like 100 gigabytes of footage that I went through and shit like that. So we're good. And I'm going to start in on Spider-Man because we got to get to that next. So that'll be my plan for the week.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm close to finishing Days Gone. And it is a fun game. I like my zombie games, but I think I've even hit my limit of zombie games of like how much I like them. So it's not a bad game. The story's really well done, which Jim, I know you don't care about,
Right.
but it's also, I think, a little bit long. Like it's unnecessarily long. I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I just want to get to the end of this, and you really shouldn't be doing that with any game. But yeah, to finish it off because it's one of my resolution games. I've pretty much only focused in on that this past week. So hoping to finish that one up.
What's a top zombie game? If you're a fan of that genre, like what would you say is your favorite zombie game?
So like the go-to I would always go with is pick your poison with Resident Evil remakes.
Okay.
Like I always, but I compare that to, I don't know if you're a horror fan, but like the old school George Romero movies where it's like you're not dealing with hordes of zombies, you're dealing with one or two, and they're going to get you eventually, and they're bullet sponges. But the most fun co-op game I've ever played is Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh yeah.
Where like that's as fun of a horde style game. Nowadays, all these games try to do this partial like realistic simulation with giant hordes, and it can only be fun for so long, is all I'll say.
I like that. Less is more sometimes, right?
Absolutely. It makes them, because you're not scared so much. Like, if I mean, in this game, for example, you do come across hordes of literally, they'll be on screen like something like 500 zombies at a time, and they're running at you. And you have to like be really smart, and it is scary for that. But you see one, even if I see 10, I'm like, that ain't shit. Like, you're not even scared. Whereas in Resident Evil, you're like, fuck, there's 2 in this hallway? Like, what am I going to do? You know, it's a different mentality. And I like the slow, steady pace of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But Chambers, I think we have to give a quick shout out because this week for Patreon, we do have a new sign up.
Yeah, Jason joined up in the $5 tier, so thank you very much. Make sure to check out the email so you can see all your rewards, get in your game review request. Check out our bonus episodes, so thank you for the support. Really appreciate it. And speaking of Patreon, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question we'll answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. So, First up is from Game Whisperer Dean. Should Mr. Straight Edge, CM Punk, just drink a beer and play a game?
As someone who's not a current wrestling fan at all, I still watched CM Punk do the same thing he's done for the past 20 years, which is bitch. I want to be back. Me.
Did you watch the scrum? Did you watch the? Yeah,
I did, and I'm like, is anyone surprised? He was a whiny bitch back in the day. He's still a whiny bitch. So, yeah, he's the straight edge shit doesn't seem to be working for his attitude. Maybe a beer would calm him down. I don't know.
The boy needs to mellow out. And I was convinced it was a work at first, and I was like, oh no, this is for real.
He's just overrated. That's all there is to it.
Well, he definitely lost a lot of fans over this shit, so.
Joe, I don't know.
Anything in the wrestling world at all? Or no?
I can't comment at all on modern wrestling. I know
it's better. It's better that way.
I know nothing.
So much better.
I'll trust your judgment.
Jim, I mean, he was your boy forever. I mean, our intro video has you wearing his shirt, and I mean,
I was wearing his shirt last week.
I mean, you love him for reasons I'll never understand, but are you defending him?
He's the best talker of the era, but knowing what everyone knows now, it's like, all right, you fucking whiny bitch. So, whatever. But, I mean, when he comes back, everyone's just going to forget about it anyway and still be excited to see him. So, it doesn't matter.
Jim, stop buying his shirts and giving him money.
Look, Brian, I'm just going to find something else to waste my money on, okay?
This is true.
All right, so next up. So, TJ asked on Twitter, can Jim sing the Frasier theme song? You motherfuckers.
It's a good question, Jim.
It is. I mean, I can.
So go ahead.
All right, you motherfuckers. Because then a couple of the patrons jumped in and were like, yeah, we want to hear that. So this is the one you get. After this, no more song request. I'm making a new tier. Assholes. Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Toss salads and scrambled eggs. Oh, my. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe. But I got you pegged. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Ooh, God, that was flat. They're calling again. Bang, bang. All right, done.
Jim, can you do that better?
No, I can't. That's why I'm a drummer. That's why I don't sing.
Do you want another?
Sit in the back and no one has to hear me.
You can have another take if you want another take.
Yeah,
that was
Jim,
the longest 30 seconds of my life.
You've been in bands for this long and you haven't picked up any rhythm in your voice? Come on.
Hey, I kept time, all right? I just have no pitch or range with my vocals, all right?
And for our patrons, don't worry. I will always make Jim do that, even at the $2 tier. So
no, fuck you. No, that's the one and done. I'm changing the Patreon goddamn login. I'll put that in there. Next up, from Burn Retinas. What's more cringy, besides my singing? Someone deleting a hot take about a hobby off social media, or the reply threads filled with accounts yelling ratio?
Joe, I'll let you hit this one up first.
It's funny because I was looking at your agenda for tonight, and I was wondering if at least one of those things I saw on there wasn't somebody's just hot take for attention. I'm gonna go with that. Just people feeling the need to toss out a hot take and then backing down on it after you start to get roasted. I hate all of that. I'm just gonna go with that.
I mean, Jim, since I'm not the internet guy, and I'm gonna say the stupid thing, is ratio the thing where you just get more comments than likes?
Basically someone says something and you just reply saying ratio, and then you get like 1,000 more likes than the original post.
So it's not even necessarily someone writing ratio. It's the reply to your thing gets more likes than the thing you posted.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, someone has a better reply to your shit take, and then that gets all the attention. So that's ratioing. But then people just started to write ratio, and then that became a meme of just voting that up. Yeah.
I think they're both as equally cringe because you see it now. No one actually, I feel like you purposely go out of your way to reply to someone and try to go the opposite to see if it wins. Which, what the fuck are we talking about? It's a instantaneous thought. And yeah, the hot takes are always, you can tell the attention grabbers now. And I look at it just like, I hate to say it, but yesterday was a great example. We're recording September 12th. on September 11th, the super cringe of, I'm going to try to make a funny response to 9/11 stuff. And I'm like, you're corny as shit. Like, just grow up. And then, or if someone did something sincere, it'd be the shit posters trying to do that ratioing shit to that. And I'm like, both are like, is that what you get off on? Is that what you enjoy? Like, are the likes that much worth it to just be that corny? Because you're not going to be that person in real life who would yell out shit and you get 1 or 2 laughs. Like, this shit only exists on Twitter. So it's all cringe. Don't do any of it. And Jim, since you do both of it, which one is worse for you?
I still say like if you just write ratio, I hate that. But the people who just like run away from their hot takes and they get like blasted and then they either deactivate for a month or go on private for a while. Yeah. It's like, all right, you wrote something stupid, just mute the conversation. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
What's worse, going private or blocking people?
You know what? If you're getting like harassed a lot by people, like block away, whatever. Because some people are just idiots online. But then there's the people who will just do like blockchains where it's like, I don't like this person, so I'm going to instantly block every person who follows this person. That's when it gets annoying. Because then you see some threads and then it's like, who's this person? And you click on them like, I've never even heard of you and I'm blocked. What the fuck? So
that's a good question though. No, I like it.
Yeah. So if you have your shit take, just stand by it. Or don't be a bitch. And last up from JD Maines. What goes better with beer? Pizza or wings?
Ooh. I mean, Joe, as the non-drinker, if
I would want wings. I mean, I'm gonna go wings. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much a staple. Like going out and just hitting like a sports bar, like 50-cent wing night, and then just getting a pitcher like that. That to me just seems more typical than ordering a pizza. I'm not saying that pizza's bad. I love pizza, right? But I'm gonna go wings and beer.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Beer. Pizza is actually something I almost go out of my way. For some reason, a Pepsi with pizza is like a go-to for me. Like, and I don't drink much soda, but if I have pizza, I'm gonna have some kind of soda with it. Yeah, wings and beer.
Don't have Coca-Cola Bite with your.
Yeah,
it's
You mean the seltzer grape juice?
Seltzer grape
or
juice.
Grape water?
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go 100%. Yeah, wings and beer. For sure.
Yeah, like the first time I saw the question, I was like, well, I mean, pizza goes with everything, but it's like, man, wings are a draw. Like, pizza's not a draw. Like, especially with Joe says, like, 50-cent wing night. Like, sometimes you just want to get your buddies or be like, hey, it's 50-cent wing night. Let's just hit up the bar. And then you get there might be a game on that's just like the icing on the cake, and you spend like, 6 hours there.
That's what they hope. They hope that's what happens, yeah.
And it goddamn works. Yep. Oh, boy, does it work. But, yeah, I mean, I got to go wings, too. There's just something special about that combination.
And to be honest, unless I'm at like a party and someone orders pizza for a party, if I order pizza for the house, I'm not particularly trying to drink beer with it. Like, I won't avoid it, but like I said, I'll have water, I'll have soda, I'll have whatever. But like, yeah, with wings, you're probably at a bar if you're getting good wings.
I agree.
If you're a degenerate that orders it from your pizza place, you're getting those shitty, overly greasy wings. And you're probably not drinking beer then either. But, like, yeah, even if I go to a pizza place, I usually don't go to a pizza place and be like, ooh, give me a beer with that. So, yeah, wings, 100%.
And plus all the carb loading, you're going to feel extra bloated.
Oh,
you're
shut
not
up,
drink
Jim.
as much. I wasn't going with the dietary part. I'm just saying, you feel full, and then you drink less. So, or maybe that's just the talk of a person with a problem. But,
Every time I see you goddamn putting in your calories for beers, I'm like, that's your 7th one. Give up for today. You went over.
I have to see how bad of a boy I was, all right? Yeah, it's bad once the beers come out and then the circle starts lapping itself. It's like, shit.
At that point, it's a mulligan. Just give up for today.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
It's just bad when it happens every single week. But besides that, well, thank you once again, everyone, for the questions and for the support. So if you're new to the page, please head on over to iTunes and Spotify as well. Leave a 5-star review. We'll read any 5-star review that you leave over there. And check out Patreon for all of our different tiers and all of our different rewards. Singing will not be one of them, you motherfuckers.
It sure will. Don't worry, guys. I got you covered. All right, $3 tier for Jim singing.
I refuse. I have very little dignity left, but I got to save some of it to scraps. I got to save it for my kid.
Jim, we didn't ask you to be one of those streamers on Twitch in a bathtub. I mean,
I'd probably be better at that.
Is there nudes for $10 tier? Is that where we're at?
oh, Jim.
You could add that. Right now, that gets you movie requests for the bonus episodes and all other kinds of stuff. I don't know. Maybe a special $11 here.
Yeah, $11. At least an ass pick, right? Like,
Yeah.
That Joe's biggest regret in life. Why'd I spend that $10?
Yeah. $11 gets the balloon knot, $12 gets the turkey neck, and then it goes up from there.
Damn it, Jim.
I mean,
What?
Thank you, guys. We really, really, truly appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, Chambers. So we are back with your bit, the YouTube comment of the week.
Oh.
So I'm very curious. First time we did this, it was a questionable one. The second time, it was a question about our beer meter. So this time, I'm curious.
All right.
What do we got, Chambers?
So this comes to us from our Road Rash 2 review. So, gentleman named Darvin. So he says, I might have been tripping on something. I swear I remember playing this. And when I lost a race in Japan, the cutscene had me being gang raped by the other riders. It might have been a glitch or the Mega Drive in my brain, but I have a clear memory of it.
I'm going to go ahead and say that never was in the game.
I saw that's another one of those ones where it's, 6:30 in the morning. I'm logging into YouTube Studio, seeing, all right, let's see what comments we got. I was like, what?
I'm going to Google this, and it's probably not a good thing to Google.
Yes, Brian,
but
you should be the one to Google Gang Road Rash 2. Yes, do that on your computer.
I don't know, Joe.
Does
any of that sound right?
I mean, is it a game? Road Rash, that might be the name of a porn that he watched, is what it's sounding like.
Yeah, I mean, the Sega Genesis classic
I don't
motorcycle
think that
racing game.
I don't think that happened.
I'm gonna take a brave stance here and say probably not. Now, I've never played the PAL version, so you never know what those cheeky Brits do over there. But I'm just gonna say,
So he's saying the PAL game over scene, right?
He was just saying the game over scene in Japan. I guess if you lose a race in Japan. So I'm gonna guess he must have been playing some Road Rash and watched some hentai before bed or something.
What a statement that makes.
Yeah. Now here's the question: is this a Jim spicy take that he'll have to delete later? Or is this is he just saying it for the shock value?
I don't know.
Or does he really think that's what happened?
One, I don't delete my takes because I know how dumb I am going into it. And two, I don't know. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Jim, would you delete your Kevin Spacey take if you could?
Oh, gosh. I don't... Everybody's canceled. Whatever you said, everyone's canceled.
Well, let's put it this way, Joe. When we were reviewing one of the Superman games...
It was Superman Returns based on the movie. Kevin Spacey was Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
so this was pre-canceling. So
And Jim made the bold claim, Kevin Spacey can do no wrong.
I said it.
Oh.
And once every, I guess 2 to 3 months, we get a comment going, hey, that Kevin Spacey comment aged well. And I just go, I know.
There's a lot of those.
I think that's like 60% of the comments on that video now, if not more.
I mean, I really like LA Confidential. I think, he's.
He was a great actor, and then
right?
Things happened.
That was Usual Suspects, that maybe I'm thinking of.
Was it? I thought you said both.
Maybe he's in both. I think Usual Suspects is what I was thinking of, or I like that movie. Benicio del Toro, and I'm not going to say he can do no wrong, but if we're separating the art from the artist, it's not a bad film.
If you separate the movies from the redheaded twink, then it's a match.
So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and now I'm marking it down because apparently with the way YouTube works, you have to bleep out that word altogether or your whole
Kevin
video gets
Spacey.
flagged. Yeah. But I'm gonna go ahead and say, yeah, man, that might have been just in your head. You have a very good imagination because I don't, even though Japan will put out some crazy shit, I don't think they would have put that on Road Rash 2. That happening. So
I mean, that was EA, so that was America. So I'm going to say probably even less. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Somehow it turns out we're all wrong. It's like, oh shit.
He's like,
oh, God.
he's like, here's the video footage. He's like, what? Oh, God damn it, Jim. But
so Joe's going, why did I come on the show? Joe, I apologize.
I'm losing races right now just so I can jerk off to it. What are you talking about?
exactly.
Don't want anybody to know.
You're like, wait, you're not supposed to enjoy that?
No, Road Rash, not Kevin Spacey. Sorry.
Please, sir, I'm a man of taste over here. Come on.
Yeah, come on. All right, Chambers. So from our good buddy Kitt, we do have a question in here. And this is a good question because we've asked this ourselves and we've talked about it. But why are beer commercials so lame now?
It's probably the perfect segue from what we were just talking about because everyone's afraid to be canceled. You can't do anything fun anymore.
Well, here's the deal. They weren't, I wouldn't say old beer commercials were always risque. Like, they were at least catchy. Even if they got annoying by how catchy they were. Say what you want. The frogs.
What's up?
Budweiser. Like, it stuck with you. The what's up? That shit, as annoying as it was because of a scary movie, it was catchy. Nowadays, the closest one I can think of is the Bud Light night commercials that were like in Super Bowls and stuff. Which I remember them being kind of funny, but like for like little moments. Outside of that, you never like.
Or even like Real Men of Genius. Real Men of Genius was fucking great. We don't even get
Real
that
Men
anymore.
of Genius was good.
Or I mean, we don't have to go back to the '80s, with like big titty bikini models around Spuds McKenzie.
I love Spuds. I was waiting.
I wish that would come back.
Love Spuds McKenzie.
Why do we not got to go back there, Jim? What do you hate women? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean that's beyond the point, Brian. But I'm just saying the advertisers want to go for that.
I don't know. I mean, Joe, even as a non-beer drinker, when you see beer commercials, what was the last one that really entertained you?
So I don't know if it really I won't say really entertained. But I like The Most Interesting Man in the World. I don't know why.
The Dos Equis?
Yeah.
Was it when it was the old guy?
Yeah,
right?
of course. Not the new
stuff.
Guy. No, like the original guy with like the beard. He's just kind of like I thought those were kind of like tongue in cheek, kind of fun. I enjoyed that.
That's to me what a beer commercial. Like when you see the ones for Modelo, they are way too serious.
Oh,
like, this person changed a whole generation for their family.
Oh, that song that's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is too serious. Or the ones that try to be too stylized, too cool, and they're always like, oh look, this really heavy beer, but like these workout model girls, they're all drinking it, and that's what they need after a workout. Like I love that they're just trying to be too cool, like going corny, like Jim's icon with Keith Stone.
He was not corny. He was a hero.
It was a dirt bag who was just walking around with like a 12-pack, and they were funny. So yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, I guess it's the same question as when was the last time you seen a video game commercial that made you go, they put some effort into this, where it's not just gameplay footage against like the live action shit. Like
I love when accounts will just post like those little like magazine clips from the 90s of some like just ridiculously hot woman in lingerie just sitting next to a Sega Genesis. It's like, man, look what we lost. Look what we had. We just threw it away.
But it's even like just effort put in those things. My question is it because everything's too big to fail at this point? They don't need to put the money in the marketing, so they kind of go the lazy route
fucking
with
Bud
it?
Light tortured us for goddamn 3 seasons of sports with Pitbull commercials. Like, you would get them like 3 times in a row during a commercial break. It was awful.
True. Would you go back to Pitbull if you could get rid of the gambling commercials? Because that's all the time now. You can't. I mean, it's every like break is some type of sport, like the Mannings, and even last year, you guys are Philly guys. Like the Ivory, like, are you ready? Allen is, and like, oh my god, like I'm so tired. Like I love Allen Iverson, but I don't need to see every break. Like, come on.
He is the Ric Flair of Philly sports. He will do anything for a fucking dollar because he burned through everything. Oh my god.
He's got that thing coming up, right? With like he's gonna be rich though, right? Maybe not rich, but richer than we are. But like with his shoes, he has that deal with Nike. Like I think his agent worked that where like after a certain point, he gets. I'll have to look it up. This is terrible. This is a terrible explanation of it. But basically, his agent like saved him, and like so, in like a couple years, or he has some clause in an axe, and then he starts getting paid again from Nike, like a ridiculous amount of money.
Really?
Yeah, he's gonna get bailed out.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's even on his Wikipedia. I should look it up.
I
should read the actual thing as opposed to Joe's interpretation.
I mean, to answer your point, yeah, because watching the Eagles this weekend, how many times I have to see that Jamie Foxx MGM commercial of him calling all the people? I'm like, dear God. And last year, Jim and I were talking about for Super Bowl. How many crypto commercials did you see? And now that's dead in the water,
right
which
before
I'm
the
glad
crash
has died. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I'll take the annoying Pitbull commercials over it. You know what I would love to do? So Jim and I, we've done legit power hours where we've watched you watch some of those old commercials and you're like, okay, some of those were problematic, but some of them were hilarious. So it's kind of like, don't be afraid to make a ridiculous over the top, even if it's bad PR in terms of like you've offended someone. It's going to get people remembering the name of the beer that you're doing it for. Because what's every single Corona commercial? People on a beach and just putting it in. So you think beach, you think Corona. Even if the commercials aren't that good, you do make that association.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those other ones, you might actually get annoyed. Like, oh, Pitbull, I don't like him. And what's he like? Bud Light? Yeah, I'm not going to buy that. So be funny. Just do better. That's all I'll say. You know how I think, Jim.
I know how you think. I have nothing to add to it. You summed it up perfectly. Like, just hire someone. Hire someone funny. Is no one funny anymore? Or no one taking jobs? Jesus.
Yeah. Get CM Punk. He'll bitch about it.
Oh, God. Actually, a CM Punk beer would be very interesting, but...
Yeah. I don't drink beer, but you should.
Yeah.
All right, can I interject real quick because I don't want to be like leave that how I did with Iverson. So it says here, luckily Reebok stacked Iverson's deck. His 2001 deal is the most unique in sports endorsement contract history of all time. The lifetime deal included a payment structure of $800,000 per year and a $32 million trust for him that he gets access to in the year 2030.
What?
So he's just he's just got to wait it out. Yeah. I remember his agent worked that out. So like he's basically in like 8 years he's going to be saved. But he's got to wait. He's got to hold on.
Jesus Christ.
So 8 years he holds on, he comes out with $32 million.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like it was still like what, 6 years ago he was playing like European League and putting up like 4 points a night or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's something to be said about it's funny. You said that deals like that, and one deal that sticks in my mind that I think I don't know how they made it, but Jack Nicholson, the original Batman, or Batman from 1989, he took a pay cut. He was going to get $10 million for that movie. He said, "Give me 6, and then give me a cut of all future merchandise and streaming revenue." So he took $6 million, and then like they're estimating he's probably netted over like $200 million from that deal for just taking a small cut.
Yeah,
well, dude, that's like what Robert Downey Jr. did with Iron Man. Like he's basically like a part owner of all the Marvel movies, so he's a gashmillionaire now. Like it's insane.
It's genius.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Iverson, however you did it, good for you.
Yep, he's gonna be all right, guys.
He better blow that fucking agent.
I was worried.
He owes him at least that.
But Chambers, we're talking about beer commercials getting canceled, and this is a weird one that you listed here, this article.
Yep, so we do live in interesting times. So Multiverses, it is the big, it's a Smash clone, but it's got all like the WB properties thrown in there. So you get like Space Jam with LeBron and like Batman and Superman and Scooby-Doo and shit like that. So one Scooby-Doo character in there is Velma, and her like basically super smash attack was to call on a police officer to grab your character and throw it off the edge of the stage, and, for an instant kill and shit like that. And they just took that out. So yeah, basically it's the optics of it, because
Well,
I mean, you have people like LeBron and I'm sure other black characters in the game. I haven't played it, so
Wait, so I'm sorry. So is that like a finishing move? Like the police come in and kill or off the other character?
yeah. It's
Well, no,
she
so what it
goes,
is-
that's the guy. He did it, and then a cop car comes in, grabs your character, and you just like bounce them off the stage.
So they basically, she says that's it, old man Mr. Jenkins, like
Yeah.
all the Scooby Doo things where the cops would come in and like take off the bad guy, and the things I see is like it wasn't a problem till people started making multiple videos, like they did LeBron dirty, and she did it and takes LeBron off the stage, but then everyone's
They're
like,
oh,
it's fine
falsely
when it was
accusing
Batman.
LeBron, huh?
Yeah, but you know, so with that they basically said they patched the game and said take out the police van, and now she goes something along the lines of like, we solve this mystery, and the mystery van just comes and takes it and then hops it off. So it's the same move. They just swapped a police car for the mystery
Machine.
van.
Yeah.
Mystery machine.
And it's one of those things. It's very similar to what you guys were just talking about, where it's not necessarily a hot take, but had you not started off with that and you just did the mystery machine from the get go when you released the game, nobody would care, right?
Nobody would even-
right.
no
But
one
now,
thought about it.
now it's a thing because
like-
nobody thought of. I don't. It's that's
I mean,
tough.
I guess in fairness to the character, it's like every episode ends with the police taking away the bad
The
guy.
police come-
Yep.
So, like, it does make sense, but I guess after a while, you got like, I saw this and I was like, that seems. I was like, I know in today's day and age, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I see both sides of that one.
Yeah,
But
it's not a hill I'm going to die on. The goddamn integrity of Scooby Doo. You cannot take away the cops from Velma.
it just is. It's one of those ones where it's like, was it that bad? No, not at all. But then when people made those videos, the same way, did you see all those videos with like GTA 5 when it first came out? They would legit, and it was a really funny meme. I forget the guy's name, but he's sitting there watching, and his character would like go up and get hit, and nothing would happen. But it was a black character, and he would hit somebody, and 5 police would show up in GTA 5. And he's like, what the fuck is it? And, like, there was a multitude of videos with that. Now, GTA 5, now, I don't know if the guy just cleverly edited it, but it, like, he's like, what the fuck? So he kept pointing that out. And then there's a whole bunch of videos there. I
mean,
don't
that
know.
is some biting social commentary right there, if that was the case. So,
It's just one of the silly ones. You know, the mystery machine coming on screen.
I do like
guess
that
it
part of
makes
the
more
thing was like
sense.
people being worried about how like the balance of the game is going to be thrown off. They're like, no, don't worry. See, it's a little bigger, but then it's a little harder for the hitbox or something or other.
Oh, I mean,
You had to like
hey,
shit out an
that's-
answer real fast instead of being
Yeah.
like, guys, come on, you know why we're doing this. For fuck's sake.
It's interesting, and I guess Jim and I have talked about this, Joe. So I'm curious for your take on it. But this game is a live, call it a still active game. It's got multiplayer support. At what point, like, if you look back on games, and we're seeing this with movies, we're seeing this with a lot of stuff.
We're seeing this with Road Rash, apparently.
Damn it, Jim. But like when they start trying to go back and then re-edit or fix. So I forget which movie or show, like something just came out and it was in the news. Like they re-edited something out of it. And I think it came on Disney Plus. They took a bunch of shit out that was out of the original. And you're like, why? They're like, well, this could have been offensive. If they keep doing these re-releases, like say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga edition, if they cut out a bunch of stuff that was in the original arcades and stuff, when is that a problem to keep cutting original material?
Yeah, I mean, I just talked about this, on one of the videos I did, one of the last ones I did before the cons hit and everything. Arcade 1-Up's Blitz cabinet. They took out
Yes.
We talked about that too.
The late hits, right? Like they took
Yep.
that out and some of the tackles and that's another thing. I think a lot of people in the comments on that video they were talking about like woke America and but really it's the NFL. It's the NFL. It's like, hey, I don't want anything to do. We don't, because we've got people former players like suing us at this point. So we don't, anything concussion related or that seems to be like we're endorsing violence in our game, we don't want any part of because of that. And it's just so unfortunate because I don't know that I shouldn't say anybody, but most of us aren't playing that game thinking that that's real life, or it's just it's cartoon violence, right? Like it's supposed to be fun and just something. But you're right. Now that that's been stripped out of there, I mean, thankfully there's still plenty of ways for people like us who collect and whatnot to go back and play the original versions. But that just seems really shitty that on a reissue, you're just sanitizing stuff. Like I'm just not a big fan of that.
I mean, we talk about we're older guys here. Do you guys remember when you would watch a movie on TV and they had to put the disclaimer like edit it down from original content? Not even talking about taking out language, but like if they cut it for time or something, they would have to make a mention like this is cut from the original intent. Like, at a minimum, I feel like that should be a disclaimer. Like, hey, original content has been edited or adjusted.
Yeah.
Just to, like, let you know, like, this isn't the real thing. If you want the real thing, do some research. But, yeah, like, the NFL Blitz especially, like, that's why you got the games. That's how much fun you had.
It's part of the charm, right? Like, it's just, I'm not saying it makes the game, but it definitely is it's something that it's a part of the personality of the whole thing, and it's very odd to strip some of that stuff out. And again, I get why they did it, but it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we all did. We all just wanted to do power bombs on people and just like keep doing elbow drops for 5 minutes after a play. Like that was half the fun.
Yeah,
it was the goofiness.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like movies and stuff. Like I remember maybe the first time I heard about like. Was that Spielberg that went back and took the guns out of E.T. and put flashlights in
walkie-talkies?
Was it walkie-talkies? Okay.
Yep.
It's just like, really? Like, yeah.
I mean, and there's, you can make the argument of, in that situation, he's the director. Does he have control of his art? But I look at when it's the peer pressure. And this is the same as Jim's question earlier, or the question on Twitter. What's more cringe? Having a hot take, and these aren't hot takes. This was the art at the time, and now you're going back and getting rid of it and editing it. And it's like, but in the future, for all we know, everyone could be upset by everything.
Yeah.
So if that becomes a case, if guns, which are already a hot topic, become a big issue, do you go back to every single gun game and like make it a paintball gun, a pony gun?
Make it all
like,
Nerf
what do
guns?
You do? Yeah, like at what point do you say, no, that was a thing of the time? Like do you just that's a weird one.
Yeah.
And like I said, I get it with this multiverse. It's a live game. It's active. They can do it because it's active base. But if like you go back to games that were already released years and years ago, stop fucking with them. Just leave them be.
Yeah, at least for Multiverse, it's like, all right, this is a fight we don't need. All right, just make the fucking change.
Just do it.
Yeah, and I don't know like what revenue and stuff looks like with as far as advertising and stuff. Like, are they getting pushback like from somebody or because that kind of crap happens all the time too, where you start getting bullied by whoever's like funding your project and they're wanting to like yank out, and then you end up making changes you wouldn't have otherwise because there goes your budget.
Yep, exactly.
So interesting times we're in. That's for goddamn sure.
But Jim, I should mention, we already talked about your YouTuber comment of the week, but you have a Gamer's Mad here, and I saw this one, and I'm actually really happy you put this here.
We basically had to, and we had like 1 or 2 people DM me going, "Have you seen this shit? This should be Gamer's Mad." And I was like, "It's already on the list." And I think Joe knows all too well about this tweet thread that's been going on. So, this comes to us from a DJ Vlad, and his tweet that has sent the gaming world on fire the past couple days. As an adult, playing video games for long periods of time is a form of depression. If you don't believe me, ask yourself this. Think about the 100 greatest moments of your life. Do any of these moments include video games? Probably not. And this comes from a lifetime gamer.
Okay, number one. Who is DJ Vlad?
No fucking idea. So I looked into him. And
I didn't know who that was either.
Yeah, I looked like he has a YouTube page with like 5 million fucking subscribers.
Holy
somehow.
shit! I just clicked on.
That's
the YouTube
always the
page.
case. I always see that on like Twitter too. I'm like, who is this person? And they have like 600,000 followers. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. Like, it's
So he does like interviews with like some celebrities, like, you know, more minor celebrities here and there, and he like his website's like a mix of celebrities with like, I don't know, like Perez Hilton like level gossip news and shit like
Okay.
that for Hollywood. So I mean, it's
So is this something that's said for attention?
I think it has to be, but I think he's also one of these like, you know, oh, the Gorilla Grind said guys, like, you know, if you're not doing it, because he follows it up with, well, that escalated quickly. To clarify, this doesn't apply to e-gamers or to people who have turned gaming into a career. This isn't about people who play a few hours a week. This is about people who consistently devote a double-digit percentage of their lives to gaming.
Wait. Like, what kind of logic is that? Like, it's like if you're a prostitute and getting paid to get fucked, hey, that's fine. But if you're just having sex at home for free, you're addicted. Like, what kind of logic is that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, if you're doing it professionally, it's fine. But if you're doing it recreationally, you have a problem. It doesn't add up.
Well, that was my number one issue is then apply that to any hobby that is not a money-making endeavor. Like, if all you read are trashy fictional novels that don't have merit, but you're reading, there's no value there. Like, same as watching TV or doing anything. Like, even if you're just going in your backyard and digging holes, like whatever the fuck you want to do. I feel like he was doing this as an attention-getting thing, because I remember a couple years ago when Joe Rogan made the news, and it's funny because now he does his podcast 4 hours each podcast and like 1 million per week, and all he said was Joe Rogan was one of the first gamers to like build a whole friggin' den of PCs because he was so addicted to Doom and
He was a WoW guy, right?
no, not WoW. What's the other shooter like Doom early game?
Quake.
So he's like, I literally did nothing else. So he was addicted to it.
But that's different.
And,
that's completely different.
So when he was asked about video games, he said, I just think they can be dangerous because you can get addicted to them. And he said, because for me personally, I know I got addicted to them, so I had to stop. He's like, I love games. I can't do them no more. That became news because he said that in a 2-second, like he didn't put out a tweet about it. This guy is clearly trying to like just make a point saying that's a form of depression. And I go, yeah, so any act in that sense is a form of depression.
Yeah.
Like you apply it to anything.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you're doing like compulsively without any type of control that's impacting your life, your job, your finances, relationships, anything like that you're doing, not like that's, I wouldn't say that is a form of depression. I mean, that the wording and semantics there, it's a result of maybe, right, of some type of psychological disorder, but that's anything. It doesn't necessarily,
There's
the logic,
almost a good point in here that's just like buried under just random bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
it's
he also goes on to say, for everyone in the comments claiming that some of the greatest moments of their life came from gaming, you are truly letting life pass you by. It's a
very judgmental statement.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, for some people maybe, but I mean, for probably most people, like, yeah, there's gonna be moments where it came from gaming if you're a gamer that you really like hold on to and enjoy. Like, we're all dads here with jobs and like fucking houses and families and shit like that, but we all have like good gaming moments that like we look back on fondly.
Of course. I make the same argument.
It's important to have
honestly,
a balance with everything, but like, fuck.
If you are not someone who is actively playing a sport for your livelihood, and your greatest moment in life was your 8th grade baseball game where you hit that 1 home run, and that's the only memory you hold on to, it's honestly, and as someone who played sports, I had a lot of sporting moments I can think of that were like, that's awesome. But you do see those guys that like, they still live in their high school sports moments and they never let that go. And that's all they think of and talk about. And it's like, is that any less sad that that's all they and then they only watch Sunday sports or like sports on ESPN all day long. They ignore their kids and all they're doing is watching sports because they played it back in the day? Is that not depression too? Because they're trying to cope with the fact they can't do that shit anymore?
I don't know. Al Bundy has a pretty nice house, and he only sold women's shoes, so there might be something to it, right?
I mean, like I said, I think this is very clickbaitable. I think it's that same argument that you do with all gamers, that it's an easy target to say you're wasting your life playing games. And then he tries to clarify it. He did his hot take, so like we talked about earlier, and he tried to clarify it by being like, no, I know some people make a living at it and a career and da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, if somebody's still functional, has a job, family, whatever, and their pastime is playing games, that's not a form of depression. That's just how they choose to spend their time.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just weird.
I remember, like, what was that, years ago, maybe 10, maybe more, like EverQuest, right? Like, that was ruining people's lives because people were genuinely addicted to that, skipping work, right? Like, that's a fucking problem. Like, and yeah, you shouldn't, like, that's when you probably need to get help and have some type of intervention and stop. But if people just enjoy playing games as a hobby, like, I don't know that we need to make the leap that's immediately the result of some psychological issue. I mean, it's not really any different than any other hobby at that point. It just comes off a little judgmental.
It's weird because I look at it like, I think in a given day I watch a total of 30 minutes of TV, and that's usually before bed, like to help me fall asleep. If I have spare time and I'm not doing family shit or work or something, I choose, like, video games are my go-to. If I'm not doing shit for the site or editing, like, that's my go-to thing. But it's like, okay, so he's okay if somebody in their, like, downtime probably watches TV. And then you could argue that they spend a double-digit, as he says, percentage of their lives watching TV. That's fine, but gaming, that's too much. It's a weird analogy.
Yeah, there's a weird logic leap just reading the original tweet. Like it jumps.
Yeah.
It, like you said, it almost sounds like it's going to say something important, but then it takes a weird turn and jumps, and it's just off.
So yeah, like with this segment, we always like to say, "Or the game is justified." Like, yeah, because it's fucking stupid ass. Like, it's almost there, but it's obviously not, especially with how he doubled down. But is it almost like, man, the gamers are so easy to set off, though.
Yeah,
because, like,
100%.
If you're someone who's outside of the realm, like, it's almost genius, like, just interaction bait. Because if you just say anything against gaming, the gamers will just pile on.
Yep.
It's almost how you see, like, all the OnlyFans girls now, just, like, with their titties out, just being like, oh, what gamer is going to eat this pizza with me? And it's just like, you clever little shrew. I'm sure you just got 100 signups just off that alone.
I mean, like I said, I just choose to believe he's doing it for the clicks, for the interaction, to drum up. I'm not even offended because, number one, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Like, and he's got 5 million on YouTube.
I don't know who that is either.
Like you said, like, he's DJ Vlad. I didn't see one DJing thing on his fucking, like, why are you calling yourself a DJ? Like, you seem to be a low rent Joe Rogan. Like, what are you doing? So I don't know. This guy is it's more of he's like a clown to me. I'm like, okay, he's just trying to drum up attention. So,
and it's like anything else with, like, especially with all the interviews of random people he has on there. Like, they're there for the people, they're not there for you. So he just found a way to aggregate all this attention. Motherfucker.
I mean, good on him. Gamers, when you hear shit like that, always look at the source of where it's coming from. If it's coming from your best friend who's saying, I think you got a problem, okay, look into it. Some random dude who's internet famous on YouTube, probably don't worry about it. That's my easy solution.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to add to that. Fucking, I'm just dumbfounded. I'm still dumbfounded how this guy has 5 million subscribers.
Well, you should just write back to him and be like, you need to be better like PewDiePie.
Hey, come on my show. Explain yourself.
But
see, if I was smart, that's what I would do.
Speaking of tweets, Chambers.
Yeah, so speaking of, people on Twitter with their takes and all their bullshit and stuff like that. So some guy, Scarlet Sprites or something or other, he had this tweet the other day going, As someone who grew up in the 80s and 90s, it blows my mind that a console, specifically one designed to create a new release, doesn't actually include the pack-in game. What the hell? And I was like,
I said it.
This is perfect timing with him coming on the show.
I said it. I said it, and I stand by it.
I stand by you. With
You're going to delete it, you goddamn carrot. Don't you fucking dare. I'm going to write ratio right now.
And you know what? You know what? There's a common thread there. I want to mention. It's from the company that fucks over its customers more than any company out there. Good old Nintendo.
Yeah, and it's become bold. They almost like they know they're gonna get away with it. They don't care. People are gonna buy that shit. We'll make 12 of these things and release them at 3 a.m. for pre-order, and everybody, you know what I mean? Like people will just like fall over themselves trying to get this shit. But yeah, I just found that really strange because to back up, I really love Splatoon. That was maybe my favorite game on Wii U. I love that game, and I played that. DJ Vlad probably would have been really disappointed. I had a problem, I was playing it all the time. I love Splatoon, and I really like Splatoon 2. I got the Pro controller for the Switch, that the Splatoon 2 Pro controller theme. So I got the amiibo. I'm not even gonna lie, I fucking love Splatoon. And so when I heard that they were doing a console, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I would love a Switch themed or a Splatoon themed Switch console. I think that'd be really awesome. And I maybe I buy that and get the game and swap out the Switch console that I have because I'm that big of a nerd. And I looked at it and I was like, what? You themed an entire console off of this release that you're hyping up to put out, and you don't put the goddamn game it's based on in the box. You've got to be kidding me. I was blown away when I read that. I couldn't believe that it didn't come with the game. And I saw there's a couple of comments that people replied, and I get it. There's business decisions that factor. I get it, but let's not pretend that there's not a history of Nintendo packing in games the Donkey Kong for N64, Wii Sports, and the list goes on and on. I mean, I think somebody even mentioned the Wii U came with Splatoon and Nintendo Land, and this isn't unheard of. It's just, hey, we don't give a shit anymore. We're just gonna make this and throw it out there. It's just, I couldn't believe it.
Dude, at one point the Wii U was coming with 4 game bundles because that thing sold so bad. It's just them being cocky dicks because they sold all the consoles right now with the Switch.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we can throw anything out there and people will buy it.
Yeah,
I also think it's a super lazy thing that Nintendo's done, and I saw in your comments because I was reading them as Jim sent this to me. People wanted to point out a lot of systems that just had digital downloads. I'm like, that's
still better.
That's
still better. Yeah, fine.
It's better. I even accept that. But even that, I still go, I'm like, that's still a form of being really fucking lazy. It's not like you're saying, hey, base model. I get it. No base model systems come with games. But to your point, like Xbox, I know, has done plenty of Halo or Gears of War.
Yeah.
And yeah, it always comes with a physical copy of the game and probably some other memorabilia.
Yep.
To not come with any version of the game is just... I thought it was ballsy when Nintendo sold people fucking cardboard and said, this is a game. And now they're doing this, and I just go, of course. That's... Nintendo's going to get to the point where it's like, you're going to pay for the case, and then you're going to pay for the game, and then you got to pay for a digital version of the game, and you guys are going to eat it. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, even because I assumed it was a digital download. I just assumed that. But to not have anything. I mean, and I think even the Mario Kart Switch came with a digital download. At this point, they're just... Yeah, I think there's one guy in the comments too that said he was actually supporting this because he said I really like to collect consoles and I love Animal Crossing and the colors, but I don't like the game, so I get the console cheaper and I don't have to buy the game.
You don't get it cheaper.
I was just like, they could have tossed you a bone. Let's not pretend that they couldn't have tossed you a digital code for that, and then you could have sold that. Like I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, I also thought I find it strange you bought an Animal Crossing console, but you don't like the game.
I like it.
I find that strange. But you know what? Hey, we all do weird shit from time to time in this hobby. I get it, but I just to defend that somehow less is better. I don't really get. Yeah.
And even for Nintendo, like, say you have the the Splatoon Sims out there who they'll buy the game. Even if you fucking bundle a digital code with it, that's still another stat you can pad the sales number with.
100%.
People are buying it. So even then, you're kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
And I
get it's selling out the ass in Japan. It's been 3 days and it's already sold 3 million units or something, something insane.
And some of those dorks would buy that console and then they go buy the physical copy of the game because the digital wouldn't be enough. Because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I went and got
That's
it.
exactly what Jim would do.
Yeah.
I can't argue that point.
I mean, it sounds like the people that would defend it and make a statement like they said to you is the same people would be like, I thought there was a certain scene in Road Rash 2. They have a mentality blocker, I'll call it. I don't know. I look at that and I just go, do these people just still defend Nintendo to the nth degree and not care what's being thrown to them? Or do they really think it's a good deal? Who cares? It's just it's another, how much of it nowadays, unfortunately, I feel like is the collector's mentality where it's it's an exclusive. I don't care what they sell. I'm going to get as many as I can, or I'm going to get my version because then I have this version of it.
I think that's rampant. I think that happens all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's how limited run games got started, in my opinion. I think just feeding into these bullshit collector edition, and I've fallen for it from time to time, depending on what the game is. But and it's I just need that because it's limited, and it comes with a keychain and some stickers, and it's oh my god, and
FOMO's a bitch.
Yeah.
And
I'm right there. Wait, what? Easy. What do you call it? What do you call it? But no, it's just I want to think that just collecting a console variant's a niche thing, but it's kind of not. Nintendo's been doing it since the fucking 64, so
yeah,
it's goddamn. I mean, even the Wii U, for as much as that bombed, people bought and scalped the shit out of the Legend of Zelda version 1. So
yeah, I actually
suckers.
I actually had that pre-order, and I can't. I was like, "What am I doing? I can't do this.
I can't do this."
Yeah, I was like, I can't. I'm not going to be that guy. I ended up canceling it, because I was going to be that guy for a moment, and I was like, no.
Yeah, it's. I think the only good news is it seems to be one company directed. From what I've seen of every special edition of PlayStations and Xboxes, even though unfortunately you can't fucking still find any, God forbid, when they do special editions, you usually get a little more bang for your buck. Usually comes with a game, comes with some memorabilia, the system colored and all that shit. This seems to be more of a Nintendo specific issue. And it's sad.
So they did that Mario edition. Was that a year or two ago? It was the red and blue one. Did that come with a game? I can't remember.
I don't know, but I'm gonna have to guess no. Right? Let me look that up.
Switch Mario.
It was. It was for.
I think I remember. Yeah, it's
And even
the blue. No. It was the Mario red and blue edition. It came with a red and blue carrying case.
Okay.
Which is just the case that it was, just red and blue, but
worth it. I'll buy 3.
No game.
Interesting. And even that, oh boy, I can't believe I'm going to apologize for this, but I almost feel like that's a little different than the Splatoon situation. You could make an argument.
It's very different.
You could make the argument that Mario is kind of the face of Nintendo. So it's you know what? It's just, it's like a Sonic something for Genesis or for Sega, I should say, right?
Right.
And it's doesn't necessarily have to be tied to us, but this is literally Splatoon 3.
Splatoon edition. That's where I get the problem. Yeah, don't tie it to a. That'd be like Xbox being like the Assassin's Creed edition of Xbox, and whatever the latest one is, they're like, we're not giving you the game.
Yeah, but you don't get the game. Like,
Yeah,
so bizarre.
Yeah, unfortunately, the squeeze every penny out of collectors nowadays, that's the way companies are going. And you know what? We're all falling for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we live in the era where game cases come with digital codes inside instead of a disc or card. So,
Yeah.
it's just
Man,
getting worse and worse.
Maybe DJ Vlad has a point. We're all just depressed.
Damn it. It's come full
Bitch,
circle.
was right all along. I have to buy his album now if he has one.
I'm going to say he doesn't, Jim. And if he did, it's not that impressive.
I am sure he's an artist. I don't know what you're talking about.
Jim, maybe you and him can do a version of your Frasier song together.
Yeah, I can sing for
wow.
it. It'll be perfect.
He'll do some music in the background.
Joe's like, please no.
Do the soundtrack for the next Kevin Spacey movie.
There you go.
Hey, see? It's all coming full circle.
You mean the next Kevin Spacey movie, Road Rash 2?
Boy. Oh, boy.
Damn, we just connected it all together.
It's all coming together.
Starring Jim.
Well, speaking of coming,
Damn it, Jim.
what? All right, I'm bad at transitions. What do you want from me?
All right, Chambers is back from his pee break, and we have our final topic. So I've been throwing up here, would it be a good game? It's kind of offshoot of something else I used to do when I would talk about directors and would their movies make good games. But this is a movie Jim and I have talked about many, many times. It's goofy, it's over the top, but I also think it would be a good game, and that's Beerfest. So, Joe, I don't know if you're familiar. It's the same people who make Super Troopers.
Yeah, I'm aware of the film. Yeah.
So
I've never seen it, but I'm aware.
You never.
but I'm
So
aware of it.
basically, the plot is it's very goofy. These people go to Germany to, let's just say, bury their grandfather in Germany because they go to an Oktoberfest or a version of Oktoberfest, which is called Beerfest. Super secret thing. But basically, each nation, so you have United States, Germany, Italy, Ireland, all these, they compete in beer games. So you have like beer pong, but then they add like goofy ones. They call it like monkey chug, which is like hanging upside down from the bars and like trying to chug a beer. So it's a series of games. And I think of it similar to some of the old NES style games. You could, California sports. If
I was just going to say like track and field, right? Like
Track
Track
and
and field was
like-
my first thought.
Yeah.
basically make it with like Beerfest style games with updated graphics or something, but do a series of those. Like, would that be entertaining enough, especially if you did it with your buddies? And, to Jim and I's advantage, maybe you make a little drinking event out of it. Like, maybe even on screen. You could do like the drinker version or non-drinker version and be like, chug a beer every time you're going to do this game or something like that. I know if we take out the wokeness and not suggesting people do drinking, because I know that's a big no-no, but do you think that could be a fun game?
Yeah.
And Jim, since I know you love the movie too,
Oh God,
I
I
don't know.
fucking love that movie.
what do you think? Could it be a fun game?
I think it could. You know what? Throw that on VR. Because, like, part of that's all the goddamn, like, interactivity and shit like that. And VR has such little, like, games that are kind of worth it anyway. I mean, I know it's got its dedicated fan base and shit. But, I don't know, if you could make something like that with, like, dedicated movesets and timing-based stuff, I think that could be a cool, like, little, especially if you wiggle in a way to make it a drinking game out of it. I think it'd be fun. Keep the control scheme simple so you can still hold a beer while, like, clicking one trigger or something like that.
No, you got to be able to play it one-handed.
Or with
Yep.
well, I'm used to that with everything. So,
Damn it, Jim!
or what do you call it? Like how like the Vive and PlayStation VR has like that circle ring thing at the end of the hand. Like just stick a beer in there somehow, like with one button control and chug as you're going along.
Jim, I've watched you do VR in person. It's not pretty.
Brian, nothing I do is pretty.
Wait, actually, so this is a perfect segue. So, Joe, one of the things I noticed last time I was down Wildwood, at the arcades, and I just assume now they have it at all arcades. So we're used to the traditional, you have basketball games. You might even have a fast pitch with I call it fast pitch, but something with baseball or football. They literally had beer pong.
Oh,
Like they had, but it was like a whole bunch of plastic cups. You literally had the pong balls, and it was an arcade game. It was like, see if you can clear all the cups. I've never seen that before this year, and I'm like, oh, they're dipping into that territory now. So
So let me ask: did it look like beer pong table or no? I saw.
So
were you guys at Too Many Games? I can't remember.
yes,
So there was a weird game that was on the floor there that like people were playing, and there was a bunch of like balls that they were bouncing, and there was like cups and stuff. I'm trying to, it looked very Japanese, but I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not. I had never seen it before, but there was a line to play it the one day.
We kind of didn't hit the arcade floor. We were kind of drunk by the time we got down to the show
Sounds good.
itself.
I was watching over two children. I'll say.
What? How dare you? Well, kind of.
Don't you even? No. So this legit the cabinet, if you want to call it. Think of it like it's nowhere near as far back as like a basketball net, but it's a pretty deep cabinet, and they literally have it's not the standard 6 cups, but it's
like
4,
20.
3, 2, 1. So they have like red Solo cups. Obviously they're made plastic, like really hard plastic, but they're set up like a beer pong table, and you get the balls that you just have to hit, and then the sensors will read if you hit it or not.
Turns off the light.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I played that a few times in Wildwood, and what I will say is I know for a fact, like, I kept hitting the same cup, and the light never went. Like the sensor was bad or something, and you could tell people must have been chucking it because like corners of the cups were broken off. So
God damn.
that's
Wow.
like people must have been.
Did they pick up like the
throwing
ski
it.
balls and throw it out there? What the fuck?
I don't know. People probably got mad, but the one I played, I think it was called. I'm looking up now. It's called Beer Pong Master.
Who makes
Like
that?
Good
I
question.
gotta look this up. I'm curious what that game was that I saw at Too Many Games now too.
But it's like, so you could, not saying you do a whole series of beer pong, beer related game.
Baytech makes it.
Baytech.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But like, so I'm saying like there is an avenue for like beer themed games in arcades, but to Jim's point, you do a little VR or something, and yeah, you make it like the adult party game, like a Mario Party, but with a whole bunch of mini games that are beer related or something like that.
So, Bri, real quick segue.
Yeah.
Did you have your kids play the beer pong game?
Oh yeah, my son. As soon as I gave him the ball, all he knew was like he thought it was like mini basketball. He didn't know no better. He was getting in there.
Yep, same with my daughter. She was like, I got it in. I turned off the light. I was like, yes, you did.
You're like, you're doing great. So yeah, but like you could do that with things like cornhole. You could do it with quarters. You could make arcade games out of it. Now that would be awesome if you did a whole arcade section dedicated to that. But then again, at that point, you just go, well, why wouldn't I just do the real game? If you're going that far. But as a video game itself, I don't know. I think it would be funny, and if you tied in the humor of what the hell were the guys' names that do Super Troopers and Beerfest?
Lounge Lizards.
If you did like their humor intermingled with that stuff, I think it would be a good game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I fucking love that movie. So any kind of game you could put together, it's got to be a mini game set like we were talking about. But you put that, I mean, I'll buy it, obviously.
So yeah, it was a random one, but I thought about that. I saw it the other day, and I said, "Oh, that would be an interesting game." Wanted to get your guys' take on it.
Yeah, I definitely think that'd be interesting. I just dropped in the chat. If you click that link and scroll down 3 or 4 pictures, it's the game I was talking about. It's different, but like you can see, like there's like little.
Oh,
like, and you like bounce the balls to try to like hit those different plates before they. Like,
oh yeah,
go
that's
in
way different.
That's different
yeah.
than, but it's beer pong ish, but not quite. It's like you are doing bank shots. That's what they were playing at Too Many Games.
So
that was
here's
pretty
what
cool.
I actually just sent out the link for the thing I'm referring to.
Let me take a peek at that. Oh yeah. That's totally different.
Yeah, so that's just straight up. It looks like red Solo
beer
cups.
pong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wanted to make a beer pong game, and you just went for it.
And apparently, from This Is Why I'm Broke, you can pay over $4,800 and get this,
Wow.
which I
Yeah.
would not recommend.
Woohoo!
That feels like somebody was like, you know what? I really like to play beer pong, but I don't have any friends. I'm just going to make this.
Hey guys, they have an NBA Jam machine on here for $876. And from the picture, it looks like the Arcade 1-Up one.
Dude, Joe, how many times have you seen that when like trolling through like Facebook Marketplace or trying to hit up the like OfferUp or whatever for like arcade cabs, and it's always the Arcade 1-Up that they're trying to sell for like
somebody
$1,000.
got really mad at me because I bitched about that on Twitter once, and they're just calling me like an elitist and all this kind of stuff. But it is really fucking annoying when you're looking for parts, especially because like I was working on Terminator 2 this summer, and I was like, God damn it, Arcade 1-Up made that machine. So now anytime I'm Googling parts for that, like Terminator 2 arcade, I'm like, it just, that shit comes up. And it's like, I have to weed through all this slop in order to try to find like, you know, old parts for it. And it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I'm just like crossing my fingers. It's like, at this point, like I've got a Mortal Kombat, like that's down. I'm going to be working on that. And it's like, well, that's already done. Like I know they've made that machine. You know, Open Ice, like, I mean, most of that stuff will be fine, but like, you know, it's just a bitch whenever they come out with something that I just happen to be working on at the same time, and or they've already done, and it's going to dominate the search results. It happens all the time. And you're right, like you get like notifications or whatever, somebody lists like an arcade cabinet in your area, and it's like arcade machine, like Pac-Man arcade machine, and it's like, oh, let me see, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, that's not that's not what I had in mind when that's the Arcade 1-Up machine, you know, and it's not clarified in any way.
Oh yeah. Well, it happens all the time. Like you look up like Sega Genesis or something, it'll be like, oh, Sega Genesis sale. Take a look at it. It's the At Games one, and they want like $60 for it, and I'm just like, oh fuck.
yeah, it's annoying.
Wait, so Joe, are you telling me when I see those things on Facebook where it's 2,000 arcade games in one cabinet, it's not real?
Yeah, that's it's probably real, but yeah, it's
probably made with more love.
Yeah, people always think that makes it worth more money. It's like, well, actually, like collectors don't want that. Like, we pay more for that if it was original, like that, as opposed to you yank all the good stuff out of it and put a emulator box in it or a PC. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, Joe, we want to say thank you so much for coming on. And once again, before we do any sign-offs, where can people find you and where should they subscribe?
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Scarlet Sprites on YouTube, Scarlet Sprites on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. But yeah, definitely check out the channel. Into anything arcade related, I'm there, and you know, we're usually having a good time and restoring something, so check it out.
Awesome. And with that, everyone, we want to say thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe. Check all the links below for all of Joe's links. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a 5-star rating. Even if you want to bash us, we will read any comment on this Power Hour podcast. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, all.
Guys.